Imagine this, swarms of drone-like aircraft, unlike anything that we've ever seen before, silently watching from above our homes. Well, this phenomenon is seemingly happening right now in New Jersey and allegedly in other places across the globe. Is it some military attack? Could this be tied to Project Bluebeam? Or are we looking at something beyond our world entirely? We're going to sift through the evidence today, and we're going to question the theories, and above all, we're going to look at it all through a lens of faith and truth. Let's dive in. Welcome to the channel. My name is Cap Chatfield, and I'm on a mission to help people understand what's going on in the world through a biblical lens. If you enjoy that concept, even in theory, please consider hitting that like button so we can get this out in front of as many people as possible. Let's dive into the content today. So obviously, you guys have probably seen this stuff going on all over the internet of these drone sightings. People are thinking that these are UFOs. They're asking the question, now they're using this term called UAP, unidentified aircraft phenomenon, something like that. Unidentified aerial phenomenon, I think, is what people are calling it. But here's what I want to break down. I'm going to share with you some actual footage that people are sharing of things happening in New Jersey, for example. So in New Jersey, the tri-state area, you're getting video footage like this that you see on the screen all over the internet. You see that from afar, it almost looks like it's an airplane, but then when you can zoom in a little bit closer, the way that the thing is hovering over people's homes is extremely confusing. And then you see clips like this one over here, where you're seeing a ton of aerial phenomena. You're seeing a lot of lights and drones hovering in the sky. And you know what's very interesting right now is it seems like the government doesn't really know what to do about all of this phenomenon happening in the sky. And so people in New Jersey are literally taking the crisis into their own hands. They're shooting guns at the drones. They're shooting Roman candles at the drones. They're shooting whatever they can at these things hovering in the sky. And let me tell you that this phenomenon is not just happening at one location. It's not just a bunch of people, seemingly a bunch of teenagers went to Walmart, bought a bunch of drones, are flying all the drones at one time. You're also allegedly seeing this sort of thing happen in places like Argentina. Let me pull up a clip for you right now of what we're seeing happen in Argentina. Let's see if I can get, here we go. Here's a clip of similar phenomenon happening in Argentina. You see all of these orb-like figures in the sky, and we will talk shortly about these orb-like figures and what these things look like when they're truly zoomed in on. But look at this. These things are flying in a very strange pattern. You're seeing it in New Jersey. Now you're seeing it in places like Argentina. I've been seeing other footage from different places in the world, and we'll talk about that in a little bit because there is potential reason to be skeptical about what is the cause of these things. Like I said at the beginning, is it military related? Is it just an illusion of like light fragments because it's that time of year of like the Northern Lights? Who knows? I don't know. Or is this something extraterrestrial? Are these aliens? Or is it something completely different? Is it spiritual? Are we seeing some sort of spiritual or angelic figure happening in the sky? Let me know in the comments before we continue moving forward, because I actually genuinely want to know what you think. I want to share with you at least one theory about what is happening here. You've probably heard this term flying around the internet, this term called Project Bluebeam. Project Bluebeam. Here is the simplest way to describe what Project Bluebeam is. First introduced in the 1990s by Canadian journalist Serge Monast, Project Bluebeam claims global elites will destabilize society by staging and unleashing massive supernatural events. Alien invasions, holographic displays of cultural and religious figures, mind control, and faked crises, and capitalize on the hysteria to implement a new world order. So this is something that was kind of labeled as a conspiracy theory for the longest time. But now you see these things happening before us right now, and we got to ask the question, is there potential truth to this whole thing? I'm just going to put this out there that when I see things like what we just walked through in 2020 with the, you know what, this giant sickness that took over the entire globe, put the whole world on lockdown. And here we are a few years later after having gone through all these mandates of not being able to see your loved ones, wearing a mask on an airplane, for crying out loud. And then you have everybody needing to take these mandatory inoculations in order to protect themselves and protect other people, which now we know didn't do either of those things. And those items were actually entirely poisonous. And a lot of people are suffering because they took those things. Why? Why was there this global seemingly coordination around that event? And if it was a global coordination that wasn't entirely rooted in truth or science, let's be completely honest, does that create a pattern of which we should be following with something like this? Well, here's where you can look at history. This is where it gets really interesting. When you look back in human history, you see governments actually creating events to create an illusion of an enemy. Because what happens when people are operating in fear and they know that there's an enemy that they need to fight, they are way more willing to do the unthinkable, such as what we saw happen in 2020. And this is something that we just saw happen actually in recent history. So let me give you an example of what the United States did during World War II. In 1944, around the time of, the U.S.'s involvement in World War II, they performed this thing called Operation Fortitude. And what they did was they created a ton of military equipment that was actually inflatables. There wasn't any metal. There wasn't any dangerous component to them. They were made, as you can see in the video footage right here, out of inflatables. For what purpose? To deceive the Axis military powers from believing that the United States was going to be entering into the war through Normandy. So they created all of these inflatables to create an illusion that would have steered the war in a different direction. People have been doing this sort of thing for the longest time. And here's what's also very interesting about this. The president-elect, President Trump, has also came out with a statement suggesting that the U.S. government, even though they seem to be saying they don't know what's really going on, that they do, in fact, know what is really happening here. Listen to what President Trump just said in a recent interview.
Can you comment on the drones that are flying around New Jersey ports? It seems like the American people have a big disconnect.
The government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people. And they should, because the people are really, they happen to be over Bedminster.
You should know
they're very close to Bedminster. I think maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
Have you received an intelligence briefing on the drones?
I don't want to comment on that.
Have you been
You know what's lame? Every month, massive corporations are poisoning Americans like you and me with toxic products made in other countries in the U.S., and all while promoting demonic agendas like Planned Parenthood and Pride Month. And the worst part is that you and I have been increasing their power by buying their products every month. Until now. Switch with Cap is a project that helps shoppers like you and me save money by buying clean, high quality, non-perishable consumer products like shampoos, toothpaste, supplements, etc. every single month from an American manufacturer that is preserving common sense values. It's remarkably affordable, no hassle, and 100% risk-free. And the products are outstanding, if I can say so myself. Book a free call with my team today by visiting switchwithcap.com, link below, to learn how you can join thousands of other families who have made the switch for their families, their country, and their values. And our team would love to pray for you on the call as well. Again, book a call with our team today by visiting switchwithcap.com. So President Trump had to cancel his trip to his property in Bedminster, New Jersey, because these drones are flying over his property. Is there a political purpose behind these drones? I don't know, man. I don't know. Quite possibly. Here's a clip from the Pentagon, actually, that I'll share with you. Where's this clip? Well, I'm going to get this clip for you of what the Pentagon is saying currently about these drones, and they're communicating that they don't really understand what the heck is going on, which is very bizarre.
These are not U.S. military drones. Again, this is being investigated by local law enforcement. What our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary.
You're telling me we don't know what the hell these drones are in New Jersey are? Is that correct?
That's right.
It's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. That's madness that we don't know what these drones are.
From the Coast Guard, who said that one of their 47-foot motor lifeboats was followed by between 12 and 30 of these drones as they went through the water.
These are 6-foot drones that are somehow evading our detection. They are not being detected.
They're saying no threat, but how the hell do they know? They don't know anything. They don't know what it is. They don't know where it come from. They don't know nothing.
They know that they can't track them. They know that they don't emit a signal. They know that they can't see them when they turn their lights out. They also indicated that they don't know where they come from. They don't know where they go to.
One family claims they followed a drone in their car, and while it hovered above them, the clock in their car changed times.
This is crazy, man. It makes me ask the question, though, are they purposely, especially when you're using these big mainstream media platforms like this, are they purposely trying to put people in hysteria and panic? Because again, when people are operating from fear, they're not operating from a place of wisdom typically. And so, I don't know, man. I see the patterns. I see how mainstream media uses these sorts of things and hyper sensationalizes them. And people are like, oh, it's totally true. Man, go check out all these other videos on my channel where I'm exposing how the mainstream media they're fabricating a lot of this stuff, and they're doing it for what reason? They're doing it for clicks, views, and probably at a more sinister level, they're doing it for some sort of agenda. What do you think that agenda might be, if there is one? Just we're speculating here, but I would love to hear what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let's keep going.
Some of the FBI agents that have been assigned to look into this have reported drones flying over their homes.
It's right here over Picatinny. There was a drone just hanging out. I put my drone up in the air and went towards it. I had full battery life. Not 3 minutes into the flight, I lost control of the drone. Warning on my screen, lost control, and my drone started going down dead.
These are fully charged batteries. It's 2 batteries that have died within seconds, and the drone went up and like a couple feet off the table and then came right back down.
Okay, you see it? You see how it goes? See how it goes? And then it becomes a spacecraft or aircraft or whatever you want to call it.
What the fuck is that, bro? Did it just get smaller? Bro, what?
Above the ocean, and it was low, very low, but so bright and so clear, and it was huge. Like when you...
I'm concerned. I issued a letter to ask for more information, and I think there should be a lot more transparency about that.
Can you make that make more sense? Because I think people in New York and New Jersey see drones the size of an SUV over their house every night and think that that doesn't make any sense.
I understand why people would be looking at this and being concerned about it. We're concerned about it too, which is why we have the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI. My goodness, looking at this, and we're taking it seriously. And we
I'd be taking it a little bit more seriously, bro. I'd be like, yo, we got to get these things out of the sky in Jesus' name. Check this out, though. This is where it gets really, really wild. So look, people are speculating things about it being the military and maybe it's the government. This is where things really take a plot twist. Could it be aliens? Could it be extraterrestrial beings? So this is a photo that was taken by an individual. A close-up picture. Look at this thing. It looks like a swirling orb. And the way that this thing is moving and swirling is just very interesting. I'm going to click this video here. A little bit more of a close-up.
Zoom in with my camera all the way up to the drone.
Look at this.
This is what I get. It has a round, shield around it.
It's like an orb.
Fucking nuts. Well, right, that's zoomed in, 208. And I'll show you the drone right now.
All right, and then he's going to show us the actual. There's the drone. So, I mean, when you look at that, it doesn't even move the way that a typical drone moves. It's like spinning all over the place. At least that's what it looks like. And then you add on top of that all of these congressional hearings that have happened recently of whistleblowers talking about how the government knows that there absolutely has been UFO sightings and they have material evidence of these things. Is all of that true? I don't know. I'll tell you my full thoughts at the end of this because the whole world's talking about it. So hopefully more Spirit-filled, Bible-believing Christians are going to speak into it as well. Here's the final thing that I think is interesting. Someone's taken a look at this thing and the way that it's spinning and the way that it's moving. Here's another image of that. Let's see if I can get a closer view of it, because the way that this thing is moving, it's super orb-like. You know, like look at that thing. It's like that is, to me, that's beyond what a typical drone looks like. Somebody made this connection, though, to this thing in Ezekiel, right? The spinning wheels, the biblical story. If you've read Ezekiel, Ezekiel has this vision. He's this prophet that has this vision of these wheels kind of spinning around like this. Now, I don't know who could accurately describe through painting what those words are trying to suggest in Ezekiel, but here's something that I do think is interesting. Could it be not so much an alien invasion, but could it be some sort of angelic manifestation? Could it be some sort of, dare I say, demonic manifestation? Because we know in the Bible that you have good angels, you have fallen angels, you have these angelic beings, these spiritual beings that have been around since the beginning of time. They're the same beings that Ezekiel witnessed in his writings in the book of Ezekiel. These things have been around forever. If you believe in that sort of stuff, I don't know how you couldn't. I don't know how you could believe that what you see with your eyes is all that there is. But if you believe in a spiritual realm, the Bible teaches about these things existing forever. Do I believe that this is the stuff that we're seeing? I don't know. I don't know, because at the same time, I want to be completely honest. We're seeing other sorts of images come up over the internet that are getting debunked. You have videos like this that are saying that this stuff is AI generated, it's computer generated. This is a quote unquote sighting in Maryland. There's all sorts of things that are being shown on the internet. Now, does that deny or does that refute that this stuff that we're seeing from New Jersey is true? I mean, you have the White House, they're having to absolutely talk about this stuff. I'm not saying it's all not true, but what I am saying is we need to be very careful, because if we're not careful, this is how people actually get swept up in deception. I'm going to read some scripture for you. This is what it says in Matthew chapter 24, verse 24. This is what Jesus said. He said, "Then if anyone says to you, 'Look, here is the Christ,' or 'There,' do not believe it. For false Christs and false prophets will rise and show great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect," even God's chosen people, even people that have repented of their sin and have given their lives to Jesus. The book of Luke talks about signs in the sky happening. These are all signs of the end times before Jesus comes back to rescue the church and to judge the earth. Here's what I would also encourage you to read. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. "For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places." And these spiritual hosts of wickedness, these demons, fallen angels, unclean spirits, and then even on the good side, you have angels that are serving God and serving the kingdom of light. They are able to move from the spiritual realm into the physical realm. And they're not bound by one location. They're not bound by one dimension. So we could, in fact, be seeing some of this stuff happen right now. And it could be that the devil is allowing this narrative to be propagated to deceive people for many reasons. One, it might be deceiving people to put their trust in the government and not in God, thinking that this is some sort of military attack. I don't know. Could it be that this is happening from the United States government as some sort of coup to keep President Trump from being inaugurated on January 20th? I don't know. These are just things that people are talking about. Very, very interesting narratives that people are putting together. But nevertheless, God does have a plan for his people about how we should respond to this. And you and I need to be people that don't get caught up in deception and don't get caught up in distraction, but keep a level head and understand what God's word says. These shall be punished with everlasting destruction. This is 2 Thessalonians 1, 9 through 11. From the presence of the Lord and from the glory of his power, when he comes in that day to be glorified in his saints and to be admired among all those who believe, because our testimony among you was believed. Therefore, we also pray for you that our God would count you worthy of this calling and fulfill all the good pleasure of his goodness and the work of faith with power. So we know that the devil is going to do a pretty significant thing in these days to try to deceive people, to try to put people under a great delusion, to keep them from pursuing God. And so when I look at what's happening here, could it be the government doing this sort of thing? President Trump says the government absolutely knows what's going on here, okay? So that's, where's my man? There he is. President Trump says the current administration absolutely knows what's going on and they're not doing the right things about it. And then you have other people who are saying that it's extraterrestrial beings. My personal perspective is it actually doesn't really matter at the end of the day what is behind this. The key is for us to, number one, if you're going to have a reason to not trust the government, let this be another reason. Okay, do not put your trust in man, put your trust in the Lord. Another thing, if this is making you realize that there's more to life than what you see about going to Target every single week and going to your job and going to the gym and come back home and taking care of your family and rinse and repeat, maybe going on one vacation a year and that's your existence and then you die and then there's nothing. Maybe there's more to life than what you see with your own two eyes. Maybe there is extra dimensions. Maybe there are beings and entities that are not earthly and not human in nature. And I'm not an ET sort of guy. I'm not talking about aliens. But what I am saying is, if you're somebody that is now starting to, your eyes are being open to things that you never thought were possible before. This is all the point. Jesus talked about all of these things: earthquakes, famines, wars, rumors of wars, persecutions, false prophets, false Christs rising up, signs and wonders in the sky. Jesus talked about these things for what purpose? To prepare you before he returns. He wants you to receive forgiveness for your sin before he comes back to judge the earth. It's just like Noah building the boat. Noah's building this ark. God told Noah to build the ark before the judgment came, before the flood came. He gave a window of time, and God is giving you a window of time, and he wants you to look at what's happening in the world and not just go binging on Reddit and going down all these rabbit holes. No, God wants you to look at what's happening and realize, hello, you need to wake up. Something is happening. Jesus is coming back very soon. This was all prophesied in the Bible 2,000 years ago by the Son of God himself. And Jesus is coming back to judge the earth. And I hope that you're on the right team when he does. So I'm encouraged because I'm a born again believer. But if you don't know where you stand with God, I have another video at the end of this one that you need to watch to make sure you know what it means to receive forgiveness of your sin and spend eternity with heaven, with God and all God's people when you die. I also have a whole list of Bible studies that you should go check out. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks again for watching. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.